Thank you so much for clicking on the video, and I hope everyone is doing really well. One of the hardest things I have ever done in my life is recover, but in many ways it has become second nature to me. Like most days, I don't even think about it. I just do what I have to do. However, that does not mean that I am the perfect example of recovery. In contrary, I am far from it. Like a lot of people, I thought recovery meant that I had to eat more food, keep the food down, develop a good relationship with eating and food, and to overcome my disordered image of food. I thought that recovery had to do a lot with food and the eating aspect of the eating disorder. Like a lot of people, I forgot about what does recovery mean to me. At first, I focused so much on my behaviors and thoughts that surrounded food that I neglected the most important part, myself. Recovery will change you, and you have to be ready and prepared to recognize and accept those changes. I'm going to be honest, the first time that I chose recovery, or I thought I was choosing recovery, I did not want to change. I wanted to get in, get better, and get out. So naturally, I attempted recovery with that mentality many, many times, and every single time I failed. I wanted to stay sad. I wanted to continue to hate myself, and I wanted to be depressed, because that is what the eating disorder wanted me to be. You see, when you're trying to recover, but you're still treating yourself in a negative way, that's like leaving the door a little bit cracked open. And that crack in the door is just enough, just what the eating disorder needs to sneak back in. When you choose recovery, and I mean really choose recovery, that means that you are closing the door, locking it, and you're not just throwing away the key. You are melting that key down until there is nothing left of it. There needs to be no opportunity, no chance of that door ever opening up again. For so many years, I tricked myself into thinking I was ready, but I wasn't, because I never completely shut the door. I never truly kicked the eating disorder out. Kicking it out means not just removing it from your actions, but from your mind as well, from how you think and speak about yourself. I think people who are more prone to developing an eating disorder are the people who are just a little bit too hard on themselves. Even when we hit rock bottom and have to accept the fact that we need help, we continue to be very hard on ourselves and treat ourselves in a negative way. We still haven't grasped the fact that we deserve good things, that we deserve better than the way we've been treating ourselves. It takes a long time, but we have to eventually learn to forgive ourselves and eventually learn to love ourselves. Forgiveness does not come easy, especially when the person who needs our forgiveness is ourselves. I'm 2 years into recovery, and forgiving myself still feels like it's near to impossible. It's hard to let go of the patterns and habits that we have grown so accustomed to. But those habits and patterns will become destructive if we continue to ignore that part of recovery. It's a challenge to have to increase the amount of food that we eat. It's another challenge to be okay with increasing the food that we eat. And it's an even bigger challenge to be okay with the fact that we are okay with increasing our food. You have to give yourself a chance. Eating disorders make you neglect yourself, but recovery says, I am important. It's more than treating your body well by feeding it. You have to treat yourself well by the way you think about yourself and the way you speak about yourself to others. I am still angry with myself, and I still blame myself as if I am still stuck in the eating disorder cycle. But I'm not stuck, and I don't have to be stuck. And I have to continue to remind myself of that. And that means, and this is probably one of the hardest parts of recovery, it means that I get to like myself and I get to love myself. And those are things that for people who struggle with an eating disorder, we never think that we ever will. We don't think that we can be liked, especially by ourselves. And we don't believe that love is something that we deserve, especially not only from other people, but from ourselves. It makes us feel like if I love myself, I'm being selfish. But by loving ourselves, we are bettering ourselves. Over time, I can honestly say that I am having more and more days than I ever thought I would, where I can actually say, I like me. I still have my off days, but that's okay. Just because you have an off day, that is not an excuse to speak negatively about yourself or to even think negatively about yourself. The way I speak about myself is nasty, but that doesn't even come close to the horrific things that I think in my head about myself. I think the most deplorable things about myself. I not only have to stop saying those criticisms out loud, but I need to start to rethink my thinking. If I can relearn how to eat, I can relearn how to think. It's gonna be hard, but it's necessary. The way we think about ourselves dictates the way we speak about ourselves to others, and in turn changes the way we are treated by others, which eventually leads to the way we treat ourselves. Yes, we need to treat ourselves with respect, but more importantly, we need to treat ourselves with compassion. Recovery changes you. You are no longer the person who starves themselves from food or kindness or love. It goes beyond eating. It is all directly linked to the way we think about ourselves and the way we treat ourselves. You may be eating again and you may be keeping food down, but if you are still thinking negatively about yourself, or if you are still criticizing yourself and your body when you talk about yourself, then you are only half committed to recovery. Choosing and making a commitment to recovery means that you are allowing recovery to impact all aspects of your life. The eating disorder has controlled your mind and your behavior. The opposite of an eating disorder is recovery, meaning that your mind and your body is no longer controlled by it. So anything that the eating disorder has destroyed, you have to let recovery rebuild. So I pose the question to you, do you even like yourself? Or even better, do you want to like yourself? Whether or not you have had an eating disorder, struggled with an eating disorder, or currently struggle with an eating disorder, I think all people need to learn how to think more positively. Just like an eating disorder, negative thoughts are triggered by something. We need to learn to recognize and identify the cause of our negative thinking. When we know the cause, it makes it much easier to correct our thinking process. Remove words that have negative connotations from your mental vocabulary when referencing yourself. This means stop thinking words like fat or skinny and associating those words with success or failure. Remove disbelief from your thinking, meaning stop believing you can't make it, or you don't deserve good things, or there's no chance of you getting better, or you won't get better. Remove those kind of statements from your thinking. Replace that thinking with thoughts that recognize that recovery is hard. It is a process, and maybe you're just having an off day. Never beat yourself down for having a bad day. It's not your fault. No one is to blame for having a bad day. We need bad days to remind us of what we are fighting for. Suffering and pain is a part of life. It's what keeps us balanced and in check. Don't let your negative mindset of the past pull you down in the present. We all have moments where we find ourselves falling into the black, bottomless pit that is our mind. It's okay if you fall into a dark place. What's important is to not get stuck in it, not to wallow in our misfortune. We need to pick ourselves up every single time and try again. We need to be kind to ourselves and give ourselves a chance, even if that means giving ourselves a second chance over and over and over again. There is no limit on second chances. We've already been through enough. We need to stop torturing ourselves. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. For more videos like this, please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!